Hi, class. This is Jaleesa again coming to you this week with mandated reporting. When it comes to mandating reporting, sometimes I initially think who exactly has the role of a mandated reporter? It could be professionals, it could be possibly a neighbor, it could be maybe a teenager, or anyone that has honestly, I guess, witnessed or seen abuse of a child, the elderly, or a disabled individual. I've had an encounter when I actually had to make a CPS report. Working as an intensive at-home counselor, excuse me, I was working with a 15-year-old African American female when I lived in Richmond, Virginia, and it was about maybe 12:15 a.m. on a Saturday, well, early Sunday morning, and I received a call on my personal cell phone from an unknown number, but something was telling me internally to go ahead and answer it because generally I didn't get phone calls that late at night unless it was an emergency or a family issue. And when I picked up, I knew who it was automatically, and she was crying profusely, indicating her mom had just put her out. She didn't have any clothes on her. She didn't have anywhere to go, and she was walking down a road, which in Richmond, this was a road that was considerably dangerous. A lot of robberies, a lot of sexual assaults against young women, elderly women, and a lot of drugs and crime around this specific area. And it alarmed me because at the time I was not in the area to assist automatically or assist as soon as the incident occurred. Thus, me having to contact my supervisor, letting her know what was going on, and trying to contact the mom, and also just trying to contact an emergency contact for the young lady that I was working with. Um, when it came time to report the incident, I had been working with the family prior for about 6 to 8 weeks. Knew mom had an addiction. She would overdose on prescription drugs, verbally abusive towards her daughter. Didn't want to accept the fact that she needed help from anyone because she felt like she could do it on her own. Daughter's father had been incarcerated all of her life since she was 2 years old. So approximately 13 years. So her father was constantly in her life, which honestly built on with some of the behaviors, which kind of caused mom to get fed up with them. Um, Now, I can say that witnessing the verbal abuse, I had to keep it written down in a notebook. I would write down or jot down little notes so when I notice what date and approximately the time, just kind of keep record of incidences that I witnessed and that she would report to me. And during weekly supervisions, I would talk to my supervisor about this, in which we were just trying to build the case because I kind of knew that the verbal abuse will soon turn into a physical abuse, in which we were trying to prevent. However, because there hadn't been a lot of physical abuse going on, if any at all, I couldn't go ahead and make the CPS report. Thus, weekly meetings, me and my supervisor would just talk about incidents and making sure that we knew exactly what happened, how it happened, and what was the outcome. Um, when it comes to abuse of children and elderly, it's honestly my weakness. Those are just two oppressed populations that I feel like they're attacked because for one they can't really defend themselves and then can't really express possibly what is going on. um, Without intervention, abuse can continue once it starts. It could cause the perpetrator of the victim to kind of be secretive and silent, and thus it causes the victims to kind of suffer for long terms, which can include them acting in the behaviors um, that they were sustained to. They put onto others. For example, the young man that was being abused by his father possibly will abuse his son or maybe his spouse growing up, which is almost like a bad chain of reaction because that is something that we want to get away from. Um, I feel like with my agency firsthand, we have to have a meeting with the supervisor and probably just take statements from the individual or the victim, just try to get them to explain what's been going on. But a lot of my fear is working with children who have been abused. They have a hard time with opening up, as well as the elderly not being able to elaborate on what exactly is going on because they're scared. I feel like two major points that I read from the article was report even when you feel like you're unsure that you should be. It's very important, and also keeping account of every incident that has occurred. Um, Generally, with me, my biggest fear is not receiving the help that I know is needed for a victim of abuse, because sometimes if the stories aren't um, coinciding with one another, it could seem like the individual might be fabricating what's truly going on. So it's very important to make sure that details are had. Um, but mandated reporting is something that I feel like we all have to get acclimated with, because it is an important part of our role. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.